Hey everyone, it's a new day and we're back on the beach. I'm so excited to get digging and see what we find here. So first I'm going to check this little pile and then we're going to go walk the shoreline and see what we find. There's nothing on the surface yet. Okay, here's our first piece of the day. It's not very big, but I'll take it. Too bad it's plastic. It's a huge chunk. This would have been like the biggest red I ever found in my life if this was real. Twisted metal, bro. I can almost see like a head and then a hand, or it just looks like a potato, I'm not sure. Look at this piece of blue milk glass, everybody. About a week ago, I dug an old glass out of the harbor and it was made of almost this exact same material. I haven't cleaned it up yet because it was sitting under a lot of sediment, but I think I can match this piece here to that cup. Look, everybody, it's a marble. It's just tucked away underneath this big rock right over here. This marble got sheared in half, and then it looks like it lost another 30%. I bet this marble's time in the ocean is similar to trying to navigate an asteroid field with huge, massive boulders all around you. Over the years, it just loses chunk after chunk, and then I just find this tiny little piece of it, and that's all that remains. Look at this right over here. I don't know if this is a rock or not. Oh, I think this is a piece of bonfire glass. Oh, look at this on the other side over here. It's got all these bubbles on it. When the glass hits a high enough temperature, it actually starts to boil the similar way that water does. And then you can find glass with these little air bubbles in it from when that was actually happening during that hot process. And then over a long period of time, this beautiful piece of glass is formed by being smoothed down the same way all these rocks are smoothed down over here. The ocean doesn't know the difference between glass and stone. It turns it into something absolutely beautiful. Some sort of a rivet in it. But you can see it's got a little bit of green, so there's some copper. It's a good sign when you're finding pieces that look perfect like this. It probably means the beach is turned over. Yeah, check this out. Check this out, everyone. Holy cow. This right over here, I don't know if you can see it, this is a piece of the Willow pattern. These are the soldiers that are walking across the bridge. There's a good chance you've recovered a piece of this out on your shorelines if you have the opportunity to beachcomb. It's probably the most popular and used pattern in the history of ceramics. It's not extremely porous on the cross section over here, but you can see a few little vacancies and crevices that have been filled with iron. And the cobalt oxide has bled out a little bit as well. I wouldn't expect a modern piece to have the cobalt oxide bleed out like this one has. And if it's older, then typically the cobalt oxide can bleed out a lot easier. Oh, nugget! I just found the nugget, everybody, check this out. Okay, check it out, I just found the nugget. Man, look at this one right over here, it's huge. Okay, let's turn the camera around. It's like a boulder. Oh my gosh, it's got a really interesting shape to it. I don't know if there's a chance that this actually was once like an apothecary stopper, or maybe this was like the top of an old decanter. You know, I've actually seen some decanters that had some really, really ornate pieces on the top. So something like this maybe could have been the top of like a bottle. It's absolutely huge. It's kind of got that color that I'd expect to see in an old Hemingway insulator. I don't see any markings on it that would indicate that this actually was from an insulator, but there still is a chance. I mean, I almost see a faint little line right there on the top when I move it back and forth, but there's really just not enough here for me to be certain if this is from an insulator or if this is actually the top of an old decanter, or who knows, maybe it's actually like the leg of something really, really ornate and fancy. They're really looking at the shape. I think this is a topper. As the waves roll in and out here, I am finding some pretty neat finds. There's a beautiful little green right here, and then I got this bonfire with a little bit of ash from it. Look how beautiful this blue pottery shard is right over here. It's just so delicate. It's pointing in that direction, so I guess I'm gonna have to go check out the pile over there. Or maybe it was pointing to this blue right here that was hiding. Aha! They're playing hide and go seek. This blue was tattling on that blue. Oh, look at that right there, look! It's a marble It's like a milky white marble. White marbles can be pretty common because there was a lot of games like Chinese checkers or Hungry Hippo that would use the white marble like this, so it could have easily been introduced into the environment over time. I cleaned it off, but it's still hard to see. There's a few little swirls right over here, which tell me that this was an actual playing marble as opposed to like a game piece. I just saved this piece from the wave that's coming in right over here. It's a beautiful blue aqua piece, but there's a little more something to this one. It's actually a fragment from an old Apothecary stopper. What happens a lot of times with these Apothecary stoppers in the ocean, because they have a long stem on them right over here, is sometimes the stem separates from the top, which is also known as the crown. And right here I have a fragment of a crown in my hand. So this is a really great little find. Oh, look right over here while I'm filming it. Look at this. It's a nice piece of yellow. It's very small and soft. And then there's a green right over here. The waves are just cycling all these rocks and they're just pushing stuff up, because I was just here a few minutes ago. There's another one. All of a sudden, with the tide pushing in, all of this has just come up. This is a really cool find. It actually might be from an old clock, like maybe a grandfather clock, because you can see how the copper's all wound up. And I've definitely seen that before in old clocks. You can see there's only a little bit of green, there's only a little bit of oxidation right over here on the inside. This is really well worn and well pitted. Check this out, everybody. I just found that copper wire and I'm still up in the high pile, and then I came across this. This is an old cribbing spike. It's really old too. You can kind of see in the metal over here how it's got all these lines that are kind of running through it. It's got a lot of black rust on it over here. I remember a few years ago I was watching The Curse of Oak Island, which is actually only about a day's sail from where we are right now. And they found a bunch of these old cribbing spikes. And right away I was just screaming at the TV. I'm like, I know what that is. It's really hard to see, but right at the tip over here you can see these lines, these striations. That's typically something I don't see in 20th century metal manufacturing. So this piece right over here is from the 1800s or earlier. Haha, look at this. It's just sitting right here. It's a huge piece of green. I guess it's not huge, but it's still a really nice find. It's really well aged. I just saw a piece of green right over here. Give me a second. And this isn't green. Look at this. This is like a piece of teal. Oh my gosh, this is such a rare color for where I pick out here. I gotta make sure that the waves don't get me because they're coming in. But I thought this was just like a piece of green, but you can really see it is definitely not Kelly green. I'm gonna try and get some light into it over here. You can really see the color difference with the Kelly green in contrast to this teal over here. But when I first saw it in the water, I actually thought it was a piece of Kelly green. A nice color like this, I usually associate with bottles that were made in the late 1800s. Nice thick piece like this, I figure it might actually be about 140 years old. And you can just see it, it is just glowing over here in my hand. And it's not even a sunny day right now, and this piece is just so vibrant. This is the bottom of a bottle right over here. This would have been the inside, and there's the outside, and here's the wall. Now, one thing I want to talk about with this one is you can see the right around the edges over here, there's no little lines, there's no little bumps. So that's called anti-slip embossing that's missing. I find a piece of a bottom and it doesn't have that little anti-slip embossing on it. I definitely know that it was made before the 1960s, because really you're only going to start seeing this pattern with the little bumps on the bottom to help prevent the bottle from slipping in the late 1950s. Oh, I see a neat little pottery shard right over here. Okay, check this out. It's a neat little pottery shard. Holy cow, I'm looking through the viewfinder and there's a marble right over here and I didn't even see it. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's kind of got like a crack, like a little bit of a creasing. So it makes me think that this marble was probably in a bonfire. There's a pile right here that wasn't exposed before low tide hit. So I'm gonna come check it out right now. Look at this right over here. Look at this piece, it's huge. It's an absolutely massive piece of Kelly green sea glass. It's so well aged. I'd say it's about 1.25 inches. This is probably my largest find of the day. This might actually be from a bottle bottom. If you can see on the side right over here, it's got a little bit of a curvature to it. It's almost like a little rectangle. I'm going to dig at this the best that I can and try and peel it back, and hopefully we're going to have some success here. To try and save my hands, I'm going to grab a flat rock like this one over here, and then I'm just going to take the rocks and I'm going to push them down over the sand And what that does is that kind of makes it so that the rocks and the sea glass don't get all sandy, and then I can still dig, and then I can still pick. And you can see right over here, after I take the layer off, like let's take this piece right over here, after I take this layer off, then I can see all the rocks that I need to dig through to make those super sea glass scores. Not a score, but it definitely proves that the sea glass is all still here. It's just underneath all this sand. Perfect little piece right here. Oh, look at this. I found something. I found a piece of green. Okay, look at this right over here. Look at this. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is too much. Okay, so I'm gonna get real down here. I found this piece and it's got a little bit of blue slip, and then I turned it over and it's my lucky day, everyone. I cannot believe that I just found a pottery shard that has these little shamrocks on it right over here. This is unreal. So something I can tell you about it right away is this was not a vase. This was actually like a piece of tableware, because it's got this slip on the inside over here. See, typically something that was ornate and meant decorative would only have the pattern on the outside right over here, and it wouldn't have this inside over here. So what this is for food consumption and for reuse. So when I find a piece like this, I definitely know that this was actually a piece of tableware. But it's just so wild. Like, look at the color on it over here. It doesn't really look like it was that pretty. I mean, maybe the ocean has kind of changed it and changed the color and warped it up a bit. Cape Breton Island is rich in its Gaelic tradition and history. There's signs out here that actually are still written in Gaelic. We have a Gaelic college out here. We have our famous fiddle music. So a piece like this could have come over from Ireland during the potato famine in the 1850s, because over 50,000 people moved to Cape Breton to come work in the coal mines and in steel manufacturing during that time period. So this piece right over here is really neat, and it's actually really historic as well. It could be well over 100 years old. It's probably been a few videos since I found a spark plug. There it is. He makes a guest appearance. Yeah! Look at this. I just found this massive piece of blue right over here. Okay, I'm coming in, everyone. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, look at this piece right over here. This is a really thin piece of cobalt blue. You can kind of see right over there, it's thin. So I know that a piece like this actually wasn't from like a Vix or a Noxzema. This one here actually might be like from a Milk of Magnesia, something really larger and thinner. It would have to be the whole length of the bottle if this was like from a Noxzema or a Vix. And because it's thin and it's long, I have to think it's not from one of those over here. It's a really great find. I don't find too many pieces of cobalt like this. Usually when I find a piece of cobalt, it's tiny and microscopic like this little thing over here if I'm lucky. So to find a piece of cobalt that's over 1 inch long is a super score. It's an amber brown. A nice little green. Oh, look at this right over here. Oh, look at this. Everybody, look at this right over here. It's a handle from like an old cup. So you can see that this was like an ornate cup over here because it goes outwards. The handle doesn't sit flat like this. It actually goes on an angle. So, and it's a lot thicker too. A piece like this probably predates electricity. So this cup right over here would have been very valuable and intricate to somebody's daily life. And then I found it right out here on the beach. Maybe they had their pinkies up when they were drinking out of this cup. Well, everybody, there's no snow, but my fingers are freezing right now from touching the water. It's definitely below zero, and I've picked about all that I'm going to be able to pick today. I'm going to head home now and go warm up. Thanks so much for watching once again. It means so much to me to bring everybody to the beach and to take you on my adventures. I'll see you all again real soon.